Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello. I am pleased to bring you the third leg of my super interview week. Um, I hope everybody had a great day. Um, we're going to pay some bills here and we'll get started here in just a moment. First, hit that subscribe button. We are up to 429, which means we are 71 away from 500. That is the goal before the end of the year. Help me to get to that 500. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell the lady down the street with a lot of cats, tell everybody you know. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. You can also support me on Patreon. Patreon support is going to help me to finally get a desk, a more professional set up in terms of my podcast to make it look just a little bit better. Patreon support starts at just $2 a month, 50 cents each week. If there's 4 weeks in the month, so I would appreciate that. You can support my GoFundMe campaign as a personal campaign that I have to take care of some expenses that kind of came up from nowhere. Your contribution helps in that way. Follow me on my Rumble page. I know I haven't been kind of hit my Rumble page, but one of my goals is to start podcast or broadcasting both on YouTube and Rumble at the same time, but I need 5 followers. On Rumble, I only have 4. So if you could make your way over there to follow, that would be appreciated. Next to last, contribute to the First Baptist Church North Drama Academy, a program for inner city children that teaches the fundamentals of dramatic expression, culminating with a production of a play. So we are very glad to do that. We're trying to raise $10,000. So your donation of 1, 5, 10, $10,000 would be very helpful. Please report that. And I'll get to the candidate's website here in just a moment as he speaks. I am going to
Hello.
let him speak. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Uh, First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Darren Hamilton. I am the Libertarian candidate for Texas House District 57. I'm a Desert Storm Marine veteran and an adult diagnosed autistic. And like a lot of Americans, I became frustrated watching politics turn into a cage match between two teams that seemed more interested in fighting each other than in solving actual problems. I'm running because I think voters deserve more than being told to choose between the lesser of two evils on every election cycle. Whether people agree with every position I hold isn't really the point. The point is that voters deserve meaningful choices and honest conversations and representatives who answer to the voters instead of to donors, parties, or political machines.
Oh, your sound is very muffled for some reason.
Okay.
Let me see
Now
what I
I can
can
hear
do
you.
about that. Oh,
Yes, now I can hear
okay.
you.
So did I was very muffled. Okay. Would you know what? I
I
bet
mean, we
you
heard
is
you.
that.
Yeah, we
Hang
heard you,
on,
but
just
it was
let
like
me take
very
these.
muffled.
Take these.
Okay, it should have switched to the microphone.
Yes, now I can hear you much, much, much better.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Let me turn up the volume here. Okay, that's as high as it's going, I'm afraid.
Okay, so you told us what you're running for, and I promise I will not try to make you be running for United States Congress. I have made that mistake several times. You're running for state office,
State
not
State of
federal.
Texas House of Representatives.
Yes. Okay. So you talked about um,
Now
voting.
I can barely hear you. Hang on just a moment.
Mhm.
Hang on. Let me can I switch this? Uh That wasn't it. I'm sorry. This is weird. Okay. I'm just going to have to listen more closely then.
You were talking about voting between the lesser of two evils, and often
Yes.
I hear voters say this, oh, I got to vote for this other guy because, well, he's not as bad as this guy.
Right.
Talk about the insanity of that. It's just not logical to me because for me, when you vote for the lesser of two evils, you're still left with evil. You
Yes.
still have evil. And I
Right.
just don't understand this logic. Where do you think it came from? And and why does the media kind of play up on it?
I think in that particular case, what you're going to end up having is um, they want to ensure that one or the other of them is going to get an idea. So essentially, it's a recognition that both are essentially evil, but one may be more evil than the other. And so you want to pick, in this case, the lesser of the two evils. Here's the problem: it presumes that there are only two. And that's kind of where those of us who are in alternative parties, the libertarians, the Greens, even the independents, um, that's where we tend to come in and try and shake things up a little bit to try and get the populace to understand, hey, there are more than just two.
And again, and we're going to get to your race. I promise we're going to get to it. But I'm in a ranting mood. So if you watch my show a lot, I tend to go off on these insane rants. I'm going to try my best not to do that today. I'm going to try to stick to my campaign, but there's certain things that upsets me, and that's one of them. So talk about the issues that you face that are in, you said District 54?
District 57 here. Yeah.
57, 57.
Um, well, there are a few that are specific to us here in Texas. One of which right now that's getting a lot of press are the automated license plate readers, the flock cameras in our area. Um, there are some of us who are going to those city council meetings and such who are opposed to the idea of surveillance without a warrant. And that's essentially how we think that particular idea should be presented. Um, and so even on my own my YouTube channel, I've talked about that a couple of times.
When, um, because you're in Texas, I have to ask this question. Well, no, I'll get to my immigration question a little bit later. Um, talk about like the population. Like, what's the population of the district that you want to represent? How many voters are there, and how many that you would need to actually get a victory?
So all of the districts have roughly the same count of people. So I would be probably I would say it's probably between 100 and 110,000 residents for any of the congressional districts. Um, and so the bigger problem that I see is the count of residents in the district doesn't even come close to, and I've been in the past two races, the total number of people who have voted. And so that was one of the things that I've been trying to figure out. I at a minimum, to answer your question, at a minimum, I would need 36% of the vote. So
Okay.
that would presume that the other two candidates didn't get enough one way or the other. So
Okay. That makes
if
sense.
if my if my candidates, if I can get 36%, and the other two split the rest, then yes, I would be successful.
Um, I do want to, I said I was going to get to my immigration question later, but I'm just going to get to it now. Because you live in Texas, that's a border
Yes.
state. Um, I I don't believe that border issues are a problem everywhere like the Republicans make it. Nobody's coming from the border to Indiana. It's just not happening. Not that I can see. And looking at the population and the size and the racial background or racial divisions, whatever. But what do you think at a local level that you could accomplish that could address the immigration issue? Are you for building a wall? Are you for getting more judges to hear cases? What is it that you're for?
As far as immigration is concerned, I'm definitely not for building a wall. I'm also ecology an ecology buff. So the environment is something that is of an issue to me. But I would actually, there are a couple of things if I were at that level, um, if I were at the federal level that I have already thought about. Here at the state level, it's going to be less about things like building the wall, because that's going to be a federal thing, and more about how do we incorporate the people who are coming into the country legally, and for the people who are not here legally, perhaps they're, you know, transitory people. They come, they work, they go back. Um, we can improve things like the visa process, at least here at the state level. There are a few things that I still need to understand uh, that are different at the state level than they are at the federal level. I'm more of my education has been on the federal side of things.
Understood. That's a fair answer. Um, Obviously the economy is it's always going to be a voter issue. Doesn't matter whether the economy is great, voters want to keep it great. If it's terrible, like it is now, people want to um, improve it. What steps are there? Are you thinking that you could be assistance to, or is that well? You talk. I'll let you answer that question.
Okay, so as far as the economy is concerned, a lot of libertarian thought is free market. And that kind of goes along with the idea of, oh, that's a separate subject, sorry. I'm autistic, my mind wanders. Um, but on the economy, things that I think I can do are to help small businesses along, help people who are just trying to earn a living. I'm For instance, I did a video a little while ago about occupational licensing, and it seems weird to me that somebody who's just trying to help, or would need to have a license to do that. Haircuts are one thing, and it just baffles me. But to answer your part of the question, those are things that I would uh, try and regulate at the state level. I would say, is this type of thing really necessary? Is this law really necessary? Who does it help? Who is the beneficiary? If it's not the people, then where is all the money going? So it's the idea for me is to go in and start asking these questions, which, I mean, as a libertarian, I'm a very small fish in a very big fish tank. So nobody's going to pay attention to me until I
Understood.
start making a ruckus.
Well, that's the whole idea about running third party.
It is.
Um, but I do want everybody to go look at your website, Hamilton, the word for, not the number, but the word for TX, which is Texas.com. I have several questions about the issues you have stated. So usually, I'm going to start. You have six of them outlined. I know you have more than six, but for this website, you have six. Your first issue listed is a grid that works when Texans need it. And you say that Texas does not lack energy, it lacks accountability. And then you
Yes.
go on to state our electric grid has been shaped by political favoritism, regulatory capture, have finished market reforms that protects insiders while leaving families freezing or sweating in the dark. That isn't capitalism, it's cronyism. Now, I can remember, if I'm right, your United States senator dipped out when Texas had a freeze um, storm. He went to
Yeah,
Cancun and
I'm struggling to recall that one.
yeah, that was Ted Cruz. That was Ted Cruz.
Mhm.
Decided, hey, I'm just, and then he left his cat in the house. Which how do you leave
Yeah,
a cat? Anyway,
whatever the excuse was, and I mean, there's been plenty. Um, it 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 it's also about optics. I mean, the look, whatever the, I mean, it doesn't matter what the excuse was. It was just the optics, and it people seeing him going, through the airport carrying his luggage. What are they going to think, especially when these things are happening? Um, I'm sorry, was there a question in there?
yes, there is. It's going to come. So I'm asking, what is it that you would do to? Would you add more regulation to the energy companies? Would you what would you do to address that crisis? Because if the system is now based off of cronyism, what is it that you would do to counteract that? What is it that you would legislate or propose to legislate?
Well, any proposal that I would have would probably have to it would have to start with the people. Now, people in my district, it's uh, cronyism for that kind of a thing for energy is not as much of an issue as cronyism for virtually anything. You know what? I am going to pull up my own website. Let's see. There we go. Just so we have the same. Okay, I'm going to go view site. Okay. Real accountability. Okay, so issues, here we go. Right. Okay. I wanted to have what you read in front of me. So yeah, the idea of breaking up another monopoly actually comes to mind. I'm a big fan of Teddy Roosevelt, and that's what he did way back in the day. But the accountability of people, of the ERCOT board, the Energy Research Commission, whatever it is, of Texas. Um, who are they accountable to? Which in this case, it doesn't seem like they're accountable to virtually anyone. The elected members of the legislature who are part of that, you know, if that is something that needs to be exposed in order to get the people to understand what's going on, then why not?
So you encourage more competition.
I would absolutely encourage more
Okay. I
competition.
just want to make sure we're on the same page. And so and please pardon me for asking the same question again because I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. Do you support more regulations of the energy institutes or less
Um,
regulation?
it would, gee, if you're going to break it up, then I would want to make sure that whatever regulations are put in place in advance could apply to everyone. So if I'm going to put in a recommendation for a regulation on energy, I'm not going to put it in just so it affects the big guy. I'm going to put it in so that it would also affect all of the little guys. So that way, maybe the bigger guy has to have a little bit more competition. The idea would be to break up the monopoly, the bigger guy, into smaller, and then those regulations would all end up encompassing everybody so that more companies are on equal footing.
Got it. Thank you for clearing that up for me. We're gonna go down to I'm gonna kind of skip around because I'm not going in order.
Sure.
Um, I want to talk about freedom isn't a partisan issue.
Okay.
You talk about Texas deserve due process, privacy from surveillance, freedom of speech, even when it's unpopular. Government power expands quietly and rarely gives anything back unless something draws a line. Talk about why you made that your platform issue.
Okay. So a lot of where I see politics, especially here in Texas, um, it seems like there are two sets of rules. There was a case some years ago where a kid had done something very horrible and was essentially let off with a slap on the wrist because he came from a wealthy family. And that kind of thing happens. From our standpoint and from my standpoint, it happens far too often. Uh, so freedom and just like accountability, it's not a partisan issue. You don't get freedom from your you don't get freedom from the party. The party doesn't give that to you. You already have it. You just have to realize it. Now, the idea that Texans deserve due process and privacy from surveillance, those kinds of things have come up. Again, I mentioned this earlier with the license plate readers and the flock cameras. Uh, we're thinking that that is a violation of our privacy because it's tracking where we're going. Whether it's used for anything or not, the point is that we as citizens do not deserve to be tracked if we haven't been accused of a crime. So that was it's the idea, and I put that in the line there, is that rights that only apply to people when you agree with them are not rights. their privileges. So
Exactly. That is exactly correct. So you also talk about justice,
yes,
and I'm good. Justice should be blind. And before I get to my question, this is the one. In theory, I agree with you. Justice should absolutely be blind. There should be a prosecutorial accountability. Central reform should be grounded in evidence. Any policies that punish poverty instead of a crime, those things should take place.
yes.
But because I'm the race of person that I am, I don't see those taking place. How do you get to that point? Like, how do you get people to realize, yes, justice should be blind, and this is what we're going to do to make sure it's blind.
I think the biggest thing to do is to have people start looking at the incentives. Okay. Um, the the whole point of what I was saying there is that should not be incentivized. So in this case, it's, and as I mentioned before, this young wealthy man who got off with a slap on the wrist. I have little doubt that there's some off the books something going on there financially, or there's a pat on the back type of thing. It doesn't matter, because the people who are wealthy donate to the campaigns of the people who are running. And so there's going to be a back and forth. I have the advantage that not only am I a libertarian, so nobody's going to want to give money to me, I'm not accepting campaign donations. So the idea is that if I do end up being elected, I'm not going to be beholden to any large donors. Uh, the people elected me, and I didn't get it from campaign donations.
Exactly. But I think the point that I'm getting at is that there is racial injustice.
Oh, I'm sure there
And
is.
and a lot of it. And I I think I see it more because, well, I see it more because of my race.
Sure.
So how do I say this question without sounding offensive? How does the Libertarian Party, no, how does your campaign um address that? Because Texas, I'm assuming that your district has a significant black population. Just gonna
Well,
assume.
we have a very diverse population, even here in my neighborhood. And so, yeah, there's and so you're asking how, if I were in the legislature, would I address the
Right.
racism, the inherent race? The First of all, I would start looking at what is, again, the incentive. Why are people of certain ethnic groups targeted more? Certain, you know, even racial groups. Why are they being targeted at a higher rate? Or are they being targeted at a higher rate? Are they being prosecuted at a higher rate simply because of this or that or the other? So that would be the prosecutorial accountability. And you're going to have the sentencing set up so that it's grounded in the evidence rather than on the testimony. Uh, and the idea is to end the policies that punish poverty instead of crime. So if a person who is, and I'm a little bit closer to this, I think, than most, because my wife has worked with the homeless in the past, um, and that's part of her charity. But if a person is just looking for food and like breaks into somebody's trash can looking for food and gets carted off, what's his real crime? If he broke into somebody's house, that would be something. But if he's just rooting through the trash, I've seen people carted off or heard about people carting off because of that kind of a thing. What's the crime? Is he guilty of rummaging through somebody's trash, or is he guilty of being poor, of being homeless? What's his crime?
That's where I was. That's where I was getting to, because so many times with third party candidates, a thing that I think that third party candidates don't do is talk about systemic racism.
Oh yeah.
It's just like we got to keep our hands off. And for me and a lot of, I am not the spokesman for the Black community. I don't propose to be that. But of course, I talk to Black people, and they all say, "Hey, we're here. We we're trying to have this dialogue. Speak to us. Tell us what you want to do." And I just think the third party does a, and that's libertarians, Greens, PSL, socialists. That's anybody I can name does a poor job of that, and that's why I asked that question. But we do have a question. Before I get to Nelson, are you on the ballot?
Yes.
Okay, because I know Texas has a funny way of getting on the ballot. How did you get on the ballot?
Okay. So in a little bit of civics 101 here for Texas. Here in Texas, we have a primary system, which means that the Republicans have a primary, the Democrats have a primary. Those two contests decide which Republican and which Democrat go into the general election. Any other party, Libertarian Party, Green Party, what have you, has to have a series of conventions. We elect our representatives through conventions. So I went to my county convention, and I was elected at that point. Because the district is within the county, that was it for me. So once that happened, I was able to submit my information back to the Secretary of State so that that happened. Oh, what was really weird though is that I had to register to run in November or December the previous year and had to pay that money up front, which I just had to do again this year. I am unclear where that money goes, because all of the money that goes for the primaries goes to the parties. What about those of us who paid for our independent or alternate party run? Where does that money go? Does it also go to the Republicans and Democrats? That was a kind of a rhetoric question. We already know that it does.
Yeah, we're gonna say, well, I can answer it. I can try to answer it, but I might be wrong.
No, we already know.
But
We already know that it does, and that's one of our big beefs. Ballot access here has been on a tightrope, and we
right,
manage to make it every time. So yes,
um,
I am on the ballot. There are, as
good,
a matter of
good.
fact, I think I am the only other person on the ballot. There's a Republican, there's a Democrat, and then there's me.
Okay, and that's where you came up with the 36%
I'm sorry.
that you would have to. That's where you came up with the 36% that you would have to win the election.
Yes.
Okay, so Nelson is in the House. Considering that we are under the rule of oligarchy controlled government, given that you get get given that you will get into office, what is your plan to fight against the establishment to make a difference? That is Nelson's question for
Well,
you.
the first thing that you're going to find out about somebody who's autistic, Marine, and libertarian is that we really don't care what you think. So if we're going to go in, so if for instance, if I were elected and I went into the legislature and I said, I think we should do this, and I propose a bill, and the Republicans come at me and the Democrats come at me, I don't care. I'm a libertarian. You're not going to vote me out. You're not going to change my mind. I'm not accepting campaign donations, so you can't bribe me. Plus, I'm autistic. What are you going to do? So it would be, for me, it would be, to answer the question, integrity. Bring integrity and accountability to the office. And so with those kinds of things in mind, I think I'm trying to establish myself to have, to show that those are qualities that I have. Not that the other candidates don't, just that I do.
Understand. So here, and you've made mention of your autism several times during this interview. So I have to be curious, how does that impact your campaign?
It
Or
actually
just
does
how are
impact
you
my
so
campaign.
okay, go ahead.
Here's how it impacts my campaign. Most of my interaction is in small groups. I don't really speak in front of large audiences, mostly because I'm not invited to speak in front of large audience. But the because of my particular flavor of autism, it's speaking. If I'm speaking with a speech, if I have a speech or something that I can, read or something, then I have no problem. I can stand in front of a group and just talk about what I have. If I'm in more of a conversation, I need to have a smaller group so that I can actually pay attention to the back and forth. So if there's a lot of people, my mind gets distracted. If there's fewer people in an area, then so that has been a part of my campaign. Other than that, the idea that I'm the vast majority of my information is going out via social media, and I have no problem with putting information out on social media, at least about the campaign and what I am about regarding the issues that I think people want to hear about.
Now, in your campaign, do you have volunteers?
Um, for my campaign so far, I haven't needed volunteers. Everything that I've been able to do, I've done myself, from recording and editing the videos and posting them up on social media. I created the website myself, and the making arrangements and everything. So far, there's not really been anything that I couldn't absorb on my own. And so, yeah, it's all been me. Don't have volunteers.
Uh-huh. Let me rephrase my question. Do you
Okay.
want
Do
volunteers?
I want volunteers? Um, the only volunteering that I would ask of your listeners, of anybody who's watching this later on, take a look at the people who represent you and ask yourself, is that really the kind of representation that I want? I'm not trying to convert anybody to libertarianism. If you're a Republican and you're tired of the cronyism, take a look at some of the things that libertarians have to offer. If you're a Democrat and you're really not with the rest of the party, take a look at what the libertarians have to offer. We may not be everybody's cup of tea. But you can stay with your party and still vote for a libertarian candidate if they match what you think. I'm just trying to bring the message.
Understand now, your current governor is Greg Abbott.
Correct.
I think he's up for re-election this year. Am I right?
Yes, he is.
Okay. So when you win, assuming that the Democrats aren't going to even put up a fight because I have yet to see them do so, and the Libertarian, I don't even know if there's a Libertarian candidate for governor.
Yes, there is a libertarian candidate for governor.
Okay.
His name is
Okay.
Pat Dixon.
Okay. So that's somebody that I may have to reach out to because I was unaware there was a
Yeah. We
candidate
have candidates for governor, for lieutenant governor. I think we have one for. I know we have one for the Senate, going up against James Tallarico and Ken Paxton. His name is Ted Brown, and you can go to his website, tedbrown.org. He is the alternative if you don't like either of those two flavors. He's definitely somebody you can wrap your head around. But yeah, we have candidates on pretty much all levels of the ballot.
I think the question I was getting to, and again, thank you for letting me know there is an actual candidate for that office because again, I didn't know there was. So you get into office, Greg Abbott. Wait a minute, isn't this his second term? Wouldn't this be like his third term?
It would be.
How many times can you run for governor
There is
in
no limit.
Texas? Oh my gosh! So you could be? You're telling me you guys could be stuck with that? Let me shut up. I don't live in Texas.
We've had governors, I think, serve as many as 6 terms.
Okay.
I'm not openly familiar with Texas history. I'm sorry, Texas, but that's kind of the information that I am understanding.
Okay, so I guess now my question is really going to get reframed. Um, how do you deal when you're in office? You've won the office. You said, "Ha ha, Democrats, Republicans, just what you get. I won, just what you get." How do you well, let me backtrack. So I'm asking this question because what drives me crazy is when I hear politicians say, "I want to work, be across the party house to work together." I can't. I cannot with that statement. It irks my nerves. It brings up like vile.
Mm,
But there are dances that you have to entangle in.
yes.
How do you push your agenda? That's it. Push the things that you want and not become a part of the system that you're railing against. That's my question.
Okay, that's a great question. The Pretty much because there's really nothing that they have that I want. I don't want to be a Republican. I don't want to have anything to do with them, with the party themselves. Now, if we're talking about somebody who's a little bit more moderate than the hard line, then yeah, we can talk and we can say, hey, we agree on a couple of things like this. Can I get your support for this type of bill? Same idea over here with the Democrats. If we agree on a couple of things, you don't have to vote but hey, support the bill. It's a matter of finding commonality. I think reaching across the aisle is great. Finding the commonality to achieve those, there's a term for it and I'm blanking on the term. It's not liaisons, it's well, just for lack of a better term, associations. So you're
Okay.
trying to make associations so that the bills, like any bills that I would propose, would have bipartisan, for lack of another better term, support. So it would, in effect, be a tripartisan support.
And I think I'm asking that question because, with people now paying attention to DSA,
Mhm.
one of my concerns is they're just going to capitulate. They're just going to bend the knee. And that's what I'm wanting to hear third party candidates address is how do you not become a part? How do you not bend the knee? How do you not capitulate? How do you not give in when you shouldn't give in? Because there are times when you need to concede. There,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there
there
are.
are.
There just are. But then there's other times where you need to stand your ground, stand 10 toes down, and like, I'm not moving. This is what I
Yeah,
believe. How do
absolutely.
you, that's what I wanted to hear more of, and maybe I didn't do a great way of asking the question. But I'm getting at is how do you not become a sellout? That's basically how what I'm
Okay,
asking is how do you
okay.
not sell out to the two-party system and fundraising and
Right,
spending all your time doing that
right.
and not like doing what the people sent you there to do?
Yeah, well, it again, it comes down to incentive, because there's nothing that they have that I want. They can't bribe me, they can't threaten me. It's like, you're never going to get this. It doesn't matter whether or not I get it passed. The idea is to get it out there, to get people listening to what the people have, to, the people want. Um, we are not the biggest party, but we can make the biggest noise on behalf of the people. It's in the party name. Liberty is our primary focus. Liberty for everybody. So
Right.
there, in order to more closely answer your question, how am I going to stay above the fray, so to speak? There's nothing they have that I want. So what are they? How are they going to get me?
You do have something that they want.
I would have something that they want. Now, they, if I have something that they want, then there's room to negotiate on maybe something else. So if they're a hard line against, let's say, let's just use a really big one here, legalization of marijuana in Texas. Okay. So if they're a hard line against it, which many Republicans are, if they want my support for one of their bills that I could support, then they're going to have to lighten up on that bill, their hard line, because legalization of marijuana here in Texas has a whole bunch of benefits. And as a veteran, I'm looking at my fellow veterans. And as an autistic, I'm also looking at my fellow neurodivergents. So these types of things actually benefit us. And so I see no reason to actually uh, have this prohibition. So they would have to.
Yeah,
So it would, yes, there would be a give and take. They would have to give up a little bit in order for me to support something of theirs.
understand. So, is there going to be a debate?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Is there going to be a debate?
A debate. Well, there hasn't been before. Here in Texas, it's not so much at our level a debate as much as a candidate forum.
Okay,
So
okay.
in this case, a candidate forum is that uh, a moderator asks a question, and each candidate gets to answer the question. we don't get to respond back and forth. We just answer the question. And so
Okay.
that's kind of how we do it here on this level. I've participated in a couple of these, but at this point, I don't think we do debates at this level.
Okay.
And I
So
probably, knowing what I know about my Republican opponent, I don't know that I'd want to debate him. I think he was a debate professor or something like that.
is there a candidate forum schedule?
I don't know of a schedule right now. Nobody has it's early in the campaign season, so to speak. A lot of things don't get really heated up until September. Uh, so I anticipate a couple of them contacting me because I've been on their stage before. I'm hoping that more of them do. Uh, I'm hoping that not just me, but other libertarian candidates can get some recognition through shows like yours. And but yeah, to answer your no, there won't be a debate.
Okay, understand. So we got to talk about this because I don't understand this logic that you have. You are not taking any donations at
Correct.
all.
Correct.
I get where you're going. I absolutely understand. Here comes my question. Your campaign has expenses.
Does it?
You're paying, well, a website costs money.
Yeah.
Web hosting costs money.
Yeah.
Um, Social media is free, but web hosting costs money. To do that every month costs, you got to pay a monthly or you pay
Mhm.
by the year. I'm assuming, well, no, I went to your website. You're asking people to print off yard signs on their own. So you don't have like the t-shirts
Nope.
and the and the yard signs and the spaghetti you don't do any of those things. Like I said, I see where you're going. I can literally see it, but then I'm like, well, wait a minute, because if somebody wants to, help you to get
Right.
the word out, that person's got you got to spend gas money. You've got to put gasoline in the tank to get to, you know, visit. I don't know how large your district
Yeah.
is. How how do you compensate that? Because I can't imagine me with the low
Okay.
income resources I have paying for my own campaign. That just makes no sense to me.
Okay. Yes, I do pay for web hosting, but I pay for that myself. It's not that much. It's nothing that I cannot absorb. And that's what I was talking about before. I don't because I'm not taking campaign donations. Um, I am responsible for absorbing anything, the cost of anything. Uh, so far, that's been it. I mean, I paid for my registration, and I paid for, and I continue to pay for my campaign website. Everything else is social media, free media. I my YouTube page is free. The Facebook, Twitter, whatever they call it now, all of those are free media. And so I am not using any paid thing. So again, there's nothing that I'm trying to do that requires uh, campaign donations for me. So again, that means that I'm not going to be beholden to anybody but the voters of my district because they are the ones that sent me to the legislature.
Understood. Okay. Nelson has another question here. When the big garbage bill, and he's talking about the big beautiful bill, gets implemented after the midterms, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be dropped out of their healthcare system. What will you do to get things normalized?
Wow. Um, I don't know. I seriously don't. I am not so familiar with the healthcare system that I could actually even provide a cognitive answer. That would have to be something that I would have to find out, probably on the job. What I would do to normalize it, again, my philosophy for essentially economics is to diversify, even it out. So lift restrictions on healthcare companies, I think, is one of them, or add more restrictions to larger healthcare companies. Give the people the option to choose from a wide variety. What meets their needs? Again, diversify rather than like try and bunch it up into one and have one trying to do everything.
Yeah, because healthcare is a major. What you could do, here comes a suggestion. You don't have to listen. I'm just a person. You could survey the people. Like when you talk to people in your district, ask them, hey, what do you think should be done?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I was stating that you could survey your potential voters and ask them what you think, because you said you didn't know about the answer to the healthcare
To
system.
the
You
healthcare
could do a
question, right?
survey, yeah, the healthcare question, and ask them, hey, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. What do
Yeah,
you want to know? Or what do you know that I need to know about that particular idea? Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. See, again, I'm not there to give the answers. My actual job, if I get into the legislature, is to ask better questions. Questions like, uh, what is this thing actually supposed to be doing? And who does it actually benefit? And why are the taxpayers paying for it? So, uh, uh, trying to find a better question is not usually one of the things that ends up getting a bumper sticker. It's not one of those that you would say, vote for me because I'm going to ask inconvenient questions. No, you're not going to get that.
yeah, I understand. Um, Next, final question. Um, well, no, next to last question. So, when you win your election, what is the first thing you are going to do? The very first thing. It could be
Uh,
legislative. It could be, I'm
so
gonna
if
go get an ice cream. I'm gonna just do.
right, the very first thing probably after a campaign victory speech is go grovel in front of my wife, because as a result of that success, I will have to miss her birthday cruise in February because the legislature will be in general session between January and the end of May. And I'll have to be in Austin. So yeah, I would have to grovel in front of my wife. That would be the one thing that I would have to do first.
And final question. Um, where can, besides, let me put up your website. Let me put it back up here. Okay, besides your website, how else can people follow you?
I am on YouTube at Libertarian Dad, and that's also my handle on Facebook, and I think it's on Twitter, but on Twitter it's D Hamilton 2022 or something like that. But Libertarian Dad is pretty much throughout, and on Instagram. So
I,
that's where you can find
yeah,
me.
thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I want to thank everybody. This concludes my week-long series of interviews. I had one Sunday, I had one Monday, I have one today. So we're going to be rested up. I think I have one the 4th, but I'm trying to confirm with that person to see can I move it to that Thursday. So that's down the line. I want to thank everybody for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And finally, like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you Saturday for the Saturday show. Everybody have a great evening. Good night, everybody.
Good night.